This is Paradise Ocean Hotel, written by Nick Haskins. Narration by Reese. Chapter 7. What About Gloria and Mr. Lee? The next day. Sherry nervously drives to the precinct before her shift starts at 1. Once she gets onto the freeway, she does 90 to make it to Washington Avenue. She just wants to give the detective the footage she wants, get back to the hotel, work her shift, and then go upstairs so she can start packing. The detective promised he could have them out of that room by the beginning of the week, so she feels all the risks are worth it. She thinks it's almost over as she gets off the exit. As she drives, she is scared to death, wondering if anyone had noticed her snooping around. Mr. Lee and Gloria are one thing, but Tamara's friend terrifies her. Sherry cringes at just the thought of him catching her in his cottage. He and those guys would have surely killed her, so she's happy she has what the detective wants and doesn't have to go back. She says, "I just want to get all this over with," pulling into a parking spot. She then gets out and rushes inside the building. The precinct. Detective Sims stands in front of the evidence board, studying each picture intensely. Mr. Lee is in the middle with pictures pinned around Gloria, Tamara, Jonathan, and the half-dressed girl in Jonathan's room. One of the cops recognized the girl in Jonathan's room when he saw her in a surveillance photo. Her name is Nia Turner, and she's off into just as much bad shit as Jonathan. Detective Sims starts pinning other pictures to the board, beginning with Jonathan's crew. When he wraps the red string around the pushpins, making a graph, the other detective says, "They're all connected." He then belches as the grease from the pastrami sandwich goes down his throat. He takes another big bite before he says, "Through Tamara Johnson." "Correct. She's the link to all the crime in that hotel. We have to be able to prove it, though. Chief made it clear that we can't touch that Jonathan punk unless we have solid evidence. We tried and failed before with that Williams guy, and I had to pay for that because the bus was from my lead. Todd Williams wasn't even in that makeshift warehouse when we showed up. He sure wasn't, and neither were any of the drugs or guns. We can't have that kind of fuck up again. If so, we're heading back to Chicago with you on desk duty and me in a goddamn squad car." "That won't happen because we will have solid evidence this time, not some bogus bus from a dopehead that was shooting up at the time he squealed." He ropes the red string around Sherry's picture and says, "This time, we'll have her. You putting all your hope in this ditzy housekeeper? She's a crook too. And a petty one at that, stealing a room right under her boss's nose. And that's what I'm using to break her. I told you that." Detective Brighton wipes his mouth and throws his napkin in the empty styrofoam before he closes the lid. "I got misinformation from a fiend. What makes you think your CI will be any different?" "For one, she's not shooting heroin between her toes when she's talking to me. Secondly, she wants to save her and her granddaughter, so she'll get me what I want. And then I'm going to bring these criminals to their knees and clean up that shitty hotel if it's the last thing I do." "Well, since you have so much faith in the housekeeper, then how's it coming with her?" Detective Sims' eyes stare at Sherry's picture when he says, "She's stubborn, believing she has a choice in anything I tell her to do. She eventually comes around, but only after I threaten her a few times. When that doesn't work, I pull out a few tricks. Yeah, like promising her a new apartment she can't afford. Come on, Brighton. You know how this works." "I do, but this lady didn't even have dinner for her and her granddaughter the other night. Do you really think she can afford a beachfront apartment in Midtown?" "Look, I don't care about her finances, all right?" Glaring at the pictures on the evidence board, Detective Sims says, "I'd give her the deed to this place if I thought it'd get me what I wanted, which is all of them." "What about him?" Detective Brighton asks, "Do you think he did it?" Looking at Mr. Lee's picture. "I know he killed that girl. All the evidence points to him. And something is off with the security footage we watched the other day when we were there. We've seen enough doctor tapes to know when we're looking at one. I was thinking the same thing, but it's okay. We'll have the subpoena by end of the week, and then that tape will be ours to hand over to the forensics team. The intercom buzzes before the cop says, "Yo, Sims, you got a visitor. It's Sherry Cook from Paradise Ocean." Detective Sims goes over to the intercom and holds down the talk button. "Thanks, Davis. Send her back." The detective then heads out of the war room. "Stay here, Brighton. I'm going to meet her in my office. I'll be right back. Make sure you get what you need from her." Before the detective walks out the door, he says, "Trust me, I will. We have to stop those people before anything else bad happens at that hotel." Once the cop at the front lets Sherry through the small wooden door, she walks down the hallway as fast as her legs could carry her. She didn't want to be here again, and the hallway smelled of must and urine today, which made her stomach turn. Ugh. The door opened the minute she stepped in front of Detective Sims' office. Moments later, he pops out. "Hello, Sherry." When she walks in, he says, "I'm glad you could make it," before closing the door behind her. "Would you like something to drink? Water, coffee, tea?" Sherry says, "No," sitting there in her housekeeper's smock. The detective looks at her briefly before asking, "Are you headed to work after you leave here?" "Yes, I have to be there in 45 minutes. "How are things going there?" When Sherry doesn't answer, Detective Sims asks, "Have you been wearing the wire?" "I have." "So, what do you have for me?" "I don't feel right about doing this. I don't like to spy, and I ain't no snitch." "Sherry, there was a girl killed in that Crumback hotel. Drugs are also being run in and out of one of those cottages, near families, children, and seniors. My job is to keep everyone safe, which is what I'm trying to do. So if you have something, please hand it over. We need it to make it all stop." Sherry takes the small recording device out of her pocket. Without saying a word, she presses play. "I went into her room. I saw them screwing and I lost it. When they saw me, the guy she was with jumped up and was ready to get in my face. So I hit him before I knew it. The next thing I knew, Jessica was screaming and reached for her phone. She said she was about to call the cops, so I panicked and I just started beating her." When Sherry stops the recording, the detective asks, "When did you get that?" "Yesterday. I walked up and heard everything. Mr. Lee's office door was closed, but I could still understand practically everything he and Gloria said in there." "Good work, Sherry. We've suspected Ronnie Lee all along, but this is the last piece of evidence we need to put that asshole away." When the detective just looks at Sherry, she asks, "What?" "What about the other guy, Jonathan?" She hesitates a moment before she says, "Meth." "What? You saw something?" "Oh, yeah." Sherry pulls out her cell phone. When the video of the girl in the room cooking meth starts to play, she hands it to the detective. "She's in his room." "We know her. She's up to her old tricks, but trying something new this time. It's usually heroin, fentanyl, and even powder, but never methamphetamine. Well, we're going to get her for it. Like Jonathan King, she's been evading us, but this time, we got her." Sherry takes her eye off the video long enough to play a staticky audio file. "When that's ready, all we need to do is unload it to old dude, and then we're out of here. Yo, is she almost done?" "Yeah, I think so, bro." The detective stops the audio. "Good work here, too, but I need more." Sherry's eyes pop out of her head. "More? I've risked my life getting you that. Do you know what would have happened to me if Mr. Lee had caught me wearing a wire? And I don't even want to think about what that Jonathan kid would have done if he saw me in his cottage." She looks at him and says, "Hell no, I'm not going back. I'm done." But you didn't get caught, Sherry, because you're smarter than those hoodlums and that stupid Mr. Lee. And you're smarter than her. The detective looks at Sherry's phone. He pauses the video when Tamara comes into frame. Tamara is not in this. You can listen to the audio I have on her. She doesn't know anything. I'm not so sure about that. She's standing right there while all this is going down. So, that makes her an accomplice at the least. But she's not who I want. Detective Sims grows frustrated as he plays more of the video, but doesn't see who he's looking for. This just won't work. Jonathan King is nowhere on this tape, and the audio isn't clear enough to prove it's him, like what you brought me on Ronnie Lee. He looks at Sherry when he says, I need more. Great! Then get it yourself. Sherry gets up and heads towards the door. Good day, detective. He says, have a nice shift. Sherry stops in the hallway right in front of the detective's door when she hears him on the phone. Hi, DCF? Yes. I'm Detective Martin Sims. I'm calling to report. Okay, all right, please. Sherry rushes back into the office. I'll do it. The detective stares at her standing there. I'll do it. I'll get you what you want. With the receiver in his hands, Detective Sims asks Sherry to sit, with the front desk cop on the phone still talking.
Sims, you called the front desk. Hey, yo, Sims, you called the front desk. This is Davis. Yo, Sims, did you dial the...
Detective Sims hung up the bogus DCF call. He was just trying to scare Sherry. And it worked. I'll take this with me. She grabs the recording device from the detective's desk. That's more like it. Now, I want you to get Jonathan in that room with the drugs. You do that, and you're free. And what about Gloria and Mr. Lee? You let me worry about them. Your focus is only on Jonathan King now. Sherry stares at the detective for a beat. You can't take my granddaughter from me. Then do what I ask, and I won't have a reason to. Fine, but don't forget your promises. I want me and my grandbaby to get out of that hotel. Once you bring me what I ask for, the new apartment in Midtown is yours. I will also talk to HR here to see about getting you a position in administration. That way, you'll be making a lot more money. And what if I can't deliver what you want? Then you'll be fighting your daughter for custody of your granddaughter in court with some overworked public defender. Oh, and as I'm sure you probably figured out by now, Mr. Lee and Paradise Ocean Hotel are going down. So I wouldn't plan on working there for very much longer. But the choice is yours. Sherry glares at the pencil-nosed detective before she storms out of his office with the recording device stuffed in her smock. When Sherry gets into her car, she slams the door. That son of a bitch can't do this. She's furious as her phone starts to ring. Who the hell is this? When she sees her daughter calling, she presses ignore. Kara, please, not now. Sherry's phone rings again, and this time she answers. What is it? I'm busy.
Where the hell is my daughter? She's not at daycare. She's not over Aunt Linda's. She's not at the last sitter I hired.
You mean the last sitter I hired? Remember, I had to work when you refused to come home for 3 days, so I had to find and hire somebody to watch Lacey.
Mama, that's ancient news.
Kara, I have to go.
You won't get away with hiding my child from me.
I'm not hiding her. I'm protecting her.
You wacky old bitch. Where's my daughter?
Goodbye, Kara. I'm about to be late for work. I don't have time for you.
Your job. That's it. She's at the hotel, isn't she?
No, she's not. We could afford to stay there even if I wanted to.
Mama, I know all about those off-the-radar, out-of-service rooms. I stayed in one for a week, remember? Of course. You do remember because you're the one that put me there.
You're wrong.
And you're a liar, but that's okay. You have 24 hours to bring my child, or sweetie, I will tear that hotel apart. Brick by brick, looking for her. Me and the cops. Try me.
Kara? Hello? Hello? When Sherry's daughter hangs up, she starts her engine and races out of the precinct's parking lot. After she's on the freeway, she reaches for her phone again and dials.
Hello?
Tears run out of Sherry's eyes when her granddaughter answers. Hey, baby. What are you doing?
Watching TV, playing with my dolls. Are you at work?
Yes, baby. And when I get off, I'm going to come up and cook you some chicken and mashed potatoes and vegetables.
Yuck! I hate vegetables. Can't we have pizza again?
Sherry chuckles a little. Sure, baby. We can have anything you want. Now remember, don't make any noise, don't make any calls, and don't
open the door for anyone if they knock. I got it, Grandma.
Okay, baby. We're going to be getting out of there soon, but I just wanted to make sure you're safe.
I'm safe.
Good. I'm going to let you go, okay? I love you, baby.
I love you too, Grandma.
After the call disconnects, Sherry peers straight ahead as she drives. We have to get out of that hotel ASAP. First, I get what that detective needs tonight. Then, I should have the keys to the new place any day. I'll hold Kara off for now. And then, when we move, she'll never find us.